Yellow, 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 yellow. It's Tuga Tuesday night, the last one of the season finale, championship edition, Campeao edition. It is all over, and it went for the Lions back to back after 71
The Campeao
long years.
edition. The Campeao
They got it
edition.
done against all odds, against all the Xanax that Derek Gomez throughout the season, all the hard conditions.
There was a lot of
for
pain.
Gomez are settled now. I don't know how's he doing now. He probably looking good, looking sharp now, looking sharp. Gomez,
Yeah.
The guys on the green side of Lisbon, on the other side of the circular, celebrating the title at home. Big Campeao. Congratulations to Sporting in a wonderful season. They went to 3 coaches. They went through a lot of injuries. They went through a
lot of drama.
A lot. And then in the end, they pulled it off. The very last game of the season. Mr. Gomez, Mr. Mauricio Ruano, Mike Agustin, Mr. Benfica is here to represent the red side of Lisbon. Of course, as always, he's beloved Benfica. He's going to talk about a lot of things about Benfica. We're going to kick off the show here with the champions. Mr. Gomez!
Yes.
How you feel?
I'm feeling great.
Well, wait,
hard to believe that I'm here.
Derek, hold on a second. Derek, hold on. I got something for you, brother.
Oh no.
That's about the quality of the Portuguese league right there. In that
okay, yeah. I got it. That one for you, brother. All right.
Yeah. No. Like I said, I'm feeling great. Hard to believe that I'm here as a back-to-back champion. Just thinking back to, the João Pereira period and how dark it looked, at that point in time. For us to persevere and come out on top is just it just makes it that much sweeter. Like the game on the game against Guimarães, I thought the first 20 minutes there was some tension, which which was understandable. But then Sporting really did take control of the game, and they ended up winning. I think pretty much pretty comfortably. I don't think Guimarães really ever had a single goal scoring opportunity. They didn't put up much of a fight. It was a nice way to top off the season. I think that we trust the process. But I think at the end of the day, if you look at the 34 rounds, if you look at the overall the season, I do think that the Sporting was the the deserved champion. And we did something that we haven't done in since 1954. The back-to-back titles. Even though he wasn't there, to celebrate. Obviously, Ruben has his fingerprints all over this. Last 5 years with 3 titles. There was a second place finish in there as well. So it was the most successful 5-year period Sporting has had since the early 1950s. But yeah, now it's going to be a true new chapter next year. Ruben did lay down the foundation. Now it's going to be is Sporting going to get continuity to what Ruben has accomplished here in these 5 years and stay as a perennial contender for the title. So I'm curious to see about that. But right now it's just good vibes, back-to-back championships, something I never thought I would ever see, being a lifelong Sporting fan. But it's unforgettable. I've seen it, but now I'm getting greedy. I want more. We'll see. We'll see what the off season brings the next season. But right now, just super grateful, super happy that we're back-to-back champions.
Finally, when it's all everything is labeled, you got the trophy in your hands. Now you can say it, right? Now you can say, "I believe."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I believe now. Of course. Yeah.
Mr. Ruano, What did he say about Pochi? Oh, he said this, right? Hey, they thought that we're not gonna win it again. When they said that we're gonna win it. We're not gonna win it without Ruben, and we did. And now they said we're not gonna win it without Victor.
And the mic drop.
Mic drop.
Oh, what do you say about that, bro? What's that?
Listen,
what's that?
I love their confidence, but you can see how together they are as a team with what they have going on.
Yeah.
They're always hanging out with each other, and just even when they win the trophy, they're just out partying with each other. And I like that confidence. I think they like people underestimating them and putting them as an underdog. I feel like it gives them an extra chip on their shoulder. And I think Bot is going to come in, I think, even better next year, too, because I feel like this injury, he's kind of disappointed how it went down, being out for so long. And I think next year, building up, hopefully he's still there. I think he'll still be on the team. You never know with these rumors going around. But listen, they're confident. I like the mic drop. I was wondering who's going to do the next mic drop since Ruben did it last year. I was wondering who was going to do it. I thought it was going to be our captain, but it was Buck. So listen,
no, he really took in full celebration.
Yeah, man, it was great to see.
Yeah,
and listen, I'm really happy for him. They went through a lot, like Derek said, like the injuries, the coaching changes, the ups and downs, and they stuck together. And I think that's what Bot said. He's like, the one thing he could say about Rui Borges, he came in, and the first thing he did is he kept the team together. And that's what they did. They stuck together. They trusted one another. And listen, they saw it through.
Mikey, not even in the last one, you could win the last one, huh? How you feeling, brother? How you feeling about your season?
Oh, no.
Now that it's over, I can say this season was a shit show. Okay, we just lost the league title in this league, this Farmers League, to a team with 82 points. How many points did Benfica have this season? 80. How many did Benfica have last season? What was supposed to be a bad season? 80. Okay, nothing improved from one season to the other. At the end of the day, same exact place. Rui Costa's presidency is going to be remembered for the rebirth of Sporting Clube de Portugal. He came in here, and in the 4 years he has been here, who has won? 3 times. These guys right here. Okay, this is Rui Costa's legacy. Rui Costa, on Sunday, after the cup final, needs to put in his resignation. I don't want to see him finish this term. He needs to step down the moment they are out of the Club World Cup. There needs to be elections in July. He never addressed the right back position. Okay, he brought back a manager last season that he it derailed the whole thing. Brought in Lige. He did what he could, but it's clear he's not good enough. Okay, it's clear at this point. This game on Saturday, okay, this team went out there like this was a training match. Okay, yes, Sporting won, and we all believed they were going to win, but they had a job to go out there and to put the pressure on Sporting. They did not do that. Okay, this experiment with Tomás Araújo at right back all season was a waste. It's no idea, no solutions, and he gives away a penalty here that derails any chance there was. This was absolutely just a disgraceful season, and heads have to roll. This is not usually the way I take things, but a lot of people need to be gone. Mm-hmm. And I'm pissed off that Álvaro Carreras walked on the field for 90 minutes on Saturday, more worried about Real Madrid than he was worried about Sporting Lisboa Benfica. Okay, I don't even want to see him on Sunday on the pitch. I don't even want to see him. Benfica need to stop using this line that they are a bridge to the big clubs in Europe, because you get players like this that they're here to just move. I would rather finish in 3rd or 4th place every year with players that want to play for Benfica, that want to wear that badge and want to fight for something, than players that are here to go get a payday somewhere else. It's Enzo Fernandez. It's now it's Álvaro Carreras. It's Darwin Nunez. These guys come in that we pay big money. They come in, they play good for a little while. Had Victor Gyökeres come to Benfica and not to Sporting, he would have been gone last January. He would not have returned. He would have been gone in 6 months. Morten Ullman would have been gone in 6 months. That's the difference. That's why Sporting are champions and why Benfica are chumps right now. That is the difference, because it's all about the sales, and we have a president that doesn't know what he's doing. He's in over his head. Sure, he's got a good football mind. He doesn't know how to run a club, much less a multi-sports club. This goes across. This isn't even just football. This is across every sport in the club is a disaster this season, all the way across. Our women's team just lost to basically a semi-professional team in the cup final. in 120 minutes. Should never happen. There is an attitude in the club that is absolutely a loser's attitude, and it needs to be broken. It has to start at the top. Nothing can be fixed while Rui Costa is in charge. October's too far away. He needs to resign and needs to start rebuilding this thing in this offseason, because whoever's going to prepare this offseason needs to be put in place. Now, he comes out after this match and says he doesn't know exactly what's wrong, and he takes responsibility, but then he says that Lige is going to continue. That shouldn't be his decision to make. It should be the decision of whoever's going to run this club going forward, because he is not winning this election if he even dares to put his name in the hat. All right, there's now 4 valid candidates. He's not beating any of them. So that's my rant on. This season was an absolute disgrace. They were in it only to the end because Ruben did Benfica the biggest favor he could do. Yeah, right. Exact. Ruben did Benfica the biggest favor he could do. He left. He left with enough time for Benfica to come back. Every time Benfica went ahead, they drop points in the next match and go back to second. And then again, difference, right? The last couple of weeks, you talk about injury time. Benfica drops 2 points in injury time. Sporting picks up 2 points in injury time a few weeks later. That's the difference. That's the difference here. And, the better team won, of course. And that's not acceptable when you spend what Benfica spends. When you bring in the kind of pricey talent they bring, Benfica bring in.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 80 points just doesn't cut it. It's not enough. Okay, if you're not going to win all the time, I understand that, but 80 points 2 years in a row is unacceptable.
Derek, based on what Mike is saying, and then based on what we've seen from Porto this season, that I don't know how the off season is going to go for Porto. What kind of money do they have? What kind of wallet do they have to spend in the off season? And Di Maria is leaving for Benfica, and many other players are leaving for Benfica, and they got the same coach is they're not making the cut for Benfica. How realistic is the chance for Sporting to win a repeat?
I mean, it's possible, but looking at the seasons,
you also want to lose key players for sure. But
we're gonna. I mean, again, last year I was, pretty sure that Victor was going to leave after the year that he had. But he stayed. I felt that there was a chance. This year, right now I can say here on May 20th that I think there's absolutely no chance he's coming back next season. So it's going to be like, how do you replace a player like that? A guy that just scored 39 goals in the league that has been central to, to Sporting's attack. So it's going to be, how they approach that. Is Conrad Harder going to take a next step? Yeah. Who do we bring in? Who else who can we retain? So there are some question marks. I do feel that both Porto and Benfica are going to do something this offseason. If Porto rolls out those same 11 guys next year, they're not going anywhere. Porto needs to do something. They have to obviously look at their money situation. They have to somehow make it happen. Or they're going to be destined to, another 70-point season. And they're going to, again, finish, double-digit points away from, from the champion. So I think that there's even more urgency there than there is in the Benfica camp. Benfica, of course, second place to them is like last place.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way it is. That's just the way they approach things. One thing, again, Schmidt, for what I want to say about Schmidt, I kind of respected Schmidt. I think Schmidt did give Sporting a lot of credit. Last year, he talked about, how Sporting was, was a good team. They deserved a title. Whereas, the sort of like I was, paying attention to, how Benfica, took Sporting being, the champion. And first it was, Lodge right after the game, apologizing, to the fans, for losing the title. And, Rui Borges again was apologizing for the fans, to the fans again. So it's almost like, Sporting, to them, Sporting didn't win this title. They lost this title. So I mean, they're taking it, very personally. And I do feel that, this off season, they're going to make some moves. So I do think that both teams are going to come back stronger. It's going to depend on how we're able to deal with this Victor situation, and what we're able to do to sort of mitigate his loss. That's going to determine if we can realistically fight for the three-peat. But I mean, right now, I think there's definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance. I mean, we probably would come in right now as a slight favorite, to be honest with you. But it's this offseason is going to be critical for all three teams. So we got to see how it plays out. We see how the preseason plays out. And at that point we'll get a better picture, of whether or not Sporting can realistically three-peat.
Right, Mauricio.
Yeah.
So, Mikey was mentioning a few things, the difference between the Benfica and Sporting this season, and I think other than the monster season from Victor, the leadership of Morty, the all the options in offense and in defense for the team. I think it was kind of like that first title, the 2021 title, when they won games that they were about to not win those games, and they ended up getting all those 3 points in key moments in the last stretch of the season, and not just in the last stretch, but when they were behind, when they dropped behind Benfica, they bounced back. I mean, whenever they lost track, they got back on track, but right away.
And listen, we talked about that all season. Those ugly wins, you need those wins to win this championship because of the teams that you play.
Yeah, no matter.
And we've even said it numerous times. It's not how we do head to head. It's those other points that you lose to those other teams. That game at the end against, like Mikey probably already knows, that game against Aroca, for them to come back twice and tie them, that's really a game that hurt them a lot. And at home, on top of it at home.
Especially
that's
at home.
You play in front of your fans. That's a double hit right there. The fans at home, and you lose points to Aroca. It's those games like that. That's why even Derek was emotional that game at Santa Clara when we lost that game, when Breda was there. Obviously, the ref had made a mistake and all, but those games hurt at home. And then when you lose those points like that to those teams, that's the difference. And once Borges came, you could tell that he made it like you don't have to play this dynamic ball like how Ruben had us going like a machine in the beginning before he left. But he kept us afloat. Like, we just got to get points out of these games any which way we can. Either with Yorkeres or not, we just got to find a way to find it through. And I give the coach credit because since he joined Sporting, he didn't lose one league game. Not at all when he joined Sporting. He didn't lose once. He could probably had some ties that should have been wins, but he didn't lose a game. And he kept us afloat. And like I said, when those ugly wins, you need those things. And I get it. Sometimes, you get those nice wins where Yorkeres scores those 4 goals, gets a hat trick and things like that. And you love to see it. But when you're playing European football, you got the Taça, the schedule's functioning up and down. You need some of those wins like that, especially with your reserves and stuff like that. So, listen, I give a lot of credit to Sporting, to Rui Borges and the coaches just to get us to that finish line any which way possible that we had to get there.
Mike, did you believe that before that game, before the derby, do you think that the Benfica lost the season before the derby, or
no? It was in the derby. They needed to win that game, and they didn't. They put themselves in a position where they needed to win that game. Yeah. So you could argue that it was law. I mean, the 2 points against Aroca, 2 points against AVS. That's why they're going to a playoff and not getting relegated. Is that point they stole late in Vila dos Aves? I mean, the loss to Famalicão at the start of the season and dropping 5 points to Braga this season. 5 points dropped to Braga. That's the difference. But yeah, I thought when they lost, I said last week that it was over. I'm not mad because Sporting won the title because Sporting won their game. There was nothing. I'm mad about the way that they approached this last game as if there was nothing left to play for. Going ahead early instead of going behind early might have put pressure on Sporting, might have changed the mood at Alvalade. Might have, who knows?
That's
Probably
a good point.
not, but who knows? But who
Yeah,
knows?
right. You're absolutely
They
right.
had a job to do, and they didn't do it. And we're hearing about how, Di Maria announces he doesn't want to go to the Club World Cup. Cajetas is going to go play for Real Madrid already at the Club World Cup. Their heads were not there anymore. They had already, they'd already given up on the season. It's clear, and it's becoming more and more obvious. So that's the frustrating part. But no, Sporting did their job and won their game, which I expected them to. But Benfica's that's no excuse for Benfica's effort on Sunday, and it just shows what the whole season is, the attitude that's been in the team all season, and it's frustrating. But no, I think it was lost in the derby. Had they found a winner in the derby, had that ball that went off the post gone in, who knows? Maybe the draw would have been enough had Benfica won that derby. So who knows? But it doesn't mean they couldn't have gone to Braga and lost on Saturday either. Because I've seen crazier things than that. So.
Yeah, that's it. Now, Mike, he said when Di Maria is gone, Carrera is gone. But if you will you do a a cleanup? Huh? Will you clean the house?
Well, you can only clean so much. I mean, I don't think you need to overreact either. But we need to know who's going to run. It looks like Elijah's going to be the coach. So. He doesn't have a good history with preseasons. The last time he was the manager and he ran a preseason. Well, I shouldn't say that because they started the season really well with him before it all came apart. But I don't know what he's going to ask for. Hopefully they can hold on to key pieces. We'll see. Whoever hasn't left yet. But I don't have a lot of faith in this president on his way out. All I'm hearing is rumors of guys like Bernardo Silva. That's not what this team needs right now. This team needs a right back that can not just back up Alexander Ba anymore, who has to be in front of Alexander Ba, because Ba has proven for 3 seasons now that he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, you can't.
So he needs to be relegated to and he's not back till at least October anyway. So a right back needs to be found. We need to find more support need to secure Pavlidis first of all. That needs to be a priority, because you cannot keep looking for a new striker every season, because we saw what happened with Pavlidis. There was a 4 or 5 month adaptation. We can't go through that again next season with a different striker. Sure. There's another guy who's probably not going to be here next year. That's another guy that needs to be replaced in Otamendi.
They got to find a home for Cabral too. Get him out of there.
You got to get him out. Come to a deal to break
he's an albatross. Yeah.
You got to get him out of there.
Yeah, according to JJ, it was the left back. I think that JJ believed Bernardo Silva's future was. But again, you need to build next year's team, and it looks like Dahl's going to be kept. They're gonna exercise the option to keep him. He's going to be the left back. That's what he was brought in to do, was to replace Carreras. Anyway,
You're keeping Cristiani or gonna loan him?
Who's that?
Cristiani.
I hope they keep him, but I don't trust Lige to do anything.
The rumors are saying that he's wanting to go too.
I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does.
I want to play.
He needs to play.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yeah,
exactly. I'm sure he does want, especially if you go get a Bernardo Silva to come in. It's going to be Di Maria 2.0. It's going to be the same situation. You're going to have an older player playing in front of him, and they're going to change the whole way they play to suit this older player. And we're going to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over. Guys like Sheldrip, he disappointed me down the stretch. People called for him to play all season. He's the guy jogging back against Soroka that allowed his guy to score that goal. Okay.
Yes.
He had just been on the pitch for 10 minutes and he's jogging. We need players with more fight, guys that are willing to do the dirty work, that are willing to stick their foot in when it comes time to make a tackle. We're not worried about, their stats, are not worried about, a future move and how this is going to make them look. I mean, Belotti came in on loan. He's going to go back. We can't afford him. So I think Artur Cabral needs to move on, and I think Belotti will move on. We need another striker again. I mean, here we are again.
Amdouni's on loan too, right?
Amdouni's on loan and very expensive. I don't think it would be wise to spend the price tag that is on him right now. again, if Lijah's the manager, Lijah proved that he's not going to be the guy he relies on. He's, he didn't go to him when he could. So you got to take that into account. There's a lot of hard decisions to be made, and being in a transition of administration it's a real bad timing to be in this situation. So as you said earlier, I think Sporting are the overwhelming favorites right now.
Mikey, do you think they will go for Clayton? No.
Benfica have a very, very rarely go for players in the Portuguese league for different reasons. The clubs don't play nice with Benfica. That's one thing. They jack the prices up. So Benfica always look abroad, but that's also with the mentality of trying to sell this again as that bridge to the rest of Europe and that bridge to the big five leagues, and that approach has backfired in my opinion. We brought in some great players, but we've also we made profit, but that doesn't make any fan happy because we've won one title in 5 years now. Okay, we've won one title in 5 years. We're playing in a cup final on Sunday, a cup that we've only won 3 times, I think, this century. It's a lot of losing has been going on, a lot of failure, and the mentality. You need something new in this team, and it doesn't have to be a lot of pieces. It just has to be some really influential, strong pieces that can get everybody going in the same direction here. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know where Benfica are going to go shopping this off season, but they got to bring guys in. And
coming from Lithuania or Estonia
or go back to Turkey again. Who knows? I mean, that seems to be where they have the connections in Turkey or in the Netherlands recently. But that was because of Roger. But that was because that was Roger. So I don't know.
Mind go to the Netherlands.
Yeah. Now Elijah's burned every bridge he's ever worked at, so he doesn't have any. Ask a Botafogo fan about him. Ask a Wolves fan about him.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You're right. Chances Jokers will win the European Golden Boot. Heck yeah, of course.
Yeah. Mbappe needs one more.
We got the points, right? I saw the points. I think he was leading. I think
one more goal, and
Mbappe with one more goal takes it.
And Salah needs 2, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
I got a feeling it's going to come a little short.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you think so?
Kick for Mbappe.
Yeah, it's going to.
Yeah, Mbappe, he got one more game still in in La Liga, right?
Yeah, and they're going to push for him to score so we can win.
Oh yeah, of course they're going to set him up, but he's going to score on him.
Probably a bonus in the contract.
Mbappe needs 1 and Salah needs 2.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. It's okay. It's all good.
Yeah.
We know who's the best.
It's not gonna take away.
We know who's the Night King.
Yeah,
we know who's the Night King.
That's not gonna change that fact.
No.
Gomez. So Mikey mentioned. He said these 2 keywords, right? Influential, strong pieces. And I said this during the broadcast that it was Pochi and Jokic, even though right, I know he didn't play for how many months? Like half of the season, basically, right? Pochi, almost half.
He missed over 4 months. Yeah.
And so I know we got all eyes on Morty Hillman, but I don't know. It's just my feeling for Pochi. But when I told you that Pochi was coming back for the last 5 games of the season, I was like, all right, this is the perfect timing for this guy to come back. I don't know how is he going to perform, but he ended up opening this last victory for Sporting, and being proven again one more time that he is the second best player in this team behind Victor, or not.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have to also remember at the beginning of the season, he got off to a great start. Ruben, it looked like he was going to have, a massive season. He was on track for that. And then like the first injury happened, which derailed him for several weeks. And then he came back for a short period of time, wasn't himself. And then, of course, the injury that took him out for over 4 months. So this really could have been a massive season for him, if he had continued on that trajectory. but yes, I mean, again, if you looked at him over the last few weeks, you saw that he was slightly improving, game by game,
Right.
getting back into form, finding his rhythm. And I think that this last game was the best version of Port that we've seen since he's come back.
That was real.
Not only with the goal, he was more influential in the attack, getting more involved. So this is great for him. He's going to play in the cup final. We'll see how that works out. And then he has the preseason, and you'd expect if he remains injury free for him to have a big season next year. But no doubt. He's been with us, since the beginning. It's been 5 years. You got to remember that first year he led the league in scoring, as a winger / midfielder. He had 23 goals. So he's such an important part, of this club, of what we built in these last 5 years, and he's going to be, a big part, of this club going forward, especially for the next, 2-3 seasons. I think that this for him, it's a season of what if. What if he never got hurt? What kind of season could he have had?
I can tell you, the Sporting should have won the title, but with 3 games on hand.
Of course, he could influence it. Yeah, I mean, you have to look at Sporting had some close games. The real Al Florensky did point out that we also lost points in injury time. So if you had a healthy part over the course of the season, it could have certainly influenced some results. But yeah, no, he's his place at the club is cemented. He is a massive part of this club right now and going forward. But yeah, I mean, still we are going to have to address the elephant in the room, which is Victor leaving, and looking at what he's done to this team the last 2 years, how we've sort of built our team around him, to suit his style. If you think about it, Sporting was really never that vertical, prior to Victor's arrival, and Sporting got very vertical over the last couple of years, because we knew of it, we properly exploited his strengths. So now losing a player like that is going to change the dynamic of a team. So again, no one has a crystal ball. No one knows, who's going to come and how this is going to play out. But I do think that next season it's going to be more in the image of Rui Borges. Rui Borges is going to be more of an architect, for this upcoming season that's coming now, as opposed to this last season where he came in, tried to implement some of his changes, but note that he just reverted back, to Ruben's original structure, to finish out this season and win the title. But I do think you are going to see, some structural changes next season. You are going to see a new striker out there. So yeah, but regardless, Pot will play a big part. Rui Borges likes Pot a lot, and he's going to continue to have a big role for Sporting, for in the next season and beyond.
Mauricio, we talk about Victor, we talk about Poch, we talk about Borges, we talk about lots of players, but it's for me, it's unfair. It's unfair that he's not getting talked a lot. But I got his name on my mind, but I was checking the numbers to the exact numbers for Gonzalo Ignacio. Right, for me, Gonzalo Ignacio has been a key player for Sporting. 28 games, always solid. Not a single red card from Gonzalo Ignacio. Not once he was sent off this season. Let's talk about Gonzalo Ignacio, Mauricio.
Listen, he's been very solid for the last few years for us. You're not surprised for all the rumors that he's getting for trying to leave the team. All these top teams interested in him, especially being a left-footed central defender. There's not many with his quality out there. He's just been really, really good. There's a lot of unsung heroes. Him and Diamond just all year together have just been super solid. I know Diamond has his hiccups here and there once in a while, but Ignacio is the one that settles everybody down back there. That he is the captain of that defensive line. He's the one who communicates with Humelin what's going on in the midfield to the back. He's just very consistent with everything that he does. And just the passing, where he finds Bot in the right spot in the pocket of the defense where both can then make something happen to Victor or catch Victor on a run. He's very underrated on the passing. He's very good.
Great
out
long
of the
ball.
back.
Great
Yeah,
long
he's
ball
very
pass.
good, especially long, short passes in the pocket. And there were times even last year, I think Derek he played in the midfield when we needed him. Ruben put him in there. He could have done that.
Yeah, he did.
So
Yeah.
listen, he's been very, very important to us.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there's no rumors around him. He's somebody that we do need to come back. Just like with Humelin in the midfield. Those are two guys. Victor, it is what it is. If we have to lose him for the money that we lose him, I understand for the seasons that he's had. But Inacio and Humelin, they have to find a way, if they can, to really hold on to those two guys because they're very, very key.
Mikey, we were talking about all the bad things of Benfica this season and all the negative outcomes. But give me the positives. Give me a couple. Give me three. Give me three positives. So you can. And I'm being serious here. I'm not being sarcastic.
Yeah,
here.
no. Vangeli Pavlidis, we've found a striker. It'll be a positive unless he leaves next month. Then it's a negative. But for now, it's a positive. We got our goalkeeper. He grew. He matured into a proper number one this season. Anatoly Trubin. He had big games and he became more and more dependable as the season went on. I got two positives. We were there.
About Tino?
To be honest, we were there till the end, despite all of these things being wrong. And let me be clear: had Benfica somehow stole this title, all of these things that are wrong would still have been wrong and would still need to be addressed. So it's not that because it didn't fall Benfica's way on the last day that all of a sudden everything is wrong. No, this would have been the case regardless. It was just poor management, but Pavlidis. Trubin are two big positives. I think I'm not ready to say that Kokshu and Artur Kuglu were really a great positive. They had their moment, but they lack the consistency there that I was looking for. We saw a couple of young kids come through, but they didn't really get their opportunity. There's just so many negatives to overpower that. I mean, we don't know what happened with just all of the drama that comes out, whether it's involving Trubin, whether it's involving Sheldrup. There's been too much instability in the team all season. And I don't even though I criticize Elijah a lot of this isn't his fault. He was given what he was given. And he has the skills he has, and he doesn't have what he doesn't have. And to expect him to manage like Carlo Ancelotti is unfair. He's Bruno Lage, and he did the best he could, I think. But there was a lot of mistakes along the way. But yeah, I'd say Trubin and Pavlidis are probably the real positives to take from this season.
Yes, sir. Now,
and the European season was good. I'll take that.
All right.
Yeah, of course.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
That question from Super Gino the Gomez about the 3-4-3 or the 4-3-3. How do you see the Rui Borges shaping up the team under those two formations?
I do suspect that you're going to see Sporting playing a 4-3-3 next season. I think he's going to go back to what he feels comfortable with. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Eduardo Quaresma play right back every now and then. He was experimenting with that when he was using the 4-3-3. It's also going to be dependent on who stays and who goes. I do agree with that earlier comment about how a center back's probably going to leave. I think that Diomande is probably more attractive to an outside team. And again, I don't want to deride, Gonçalo Inácio, who, I thought had an extremely solid season, and he does have certain intangibles, talking about, his ability to make long passes. But Diomande just stuck out more He comes across in some of these games. There is some games where he was absolutely dominant this year, as a wall. And I think that there are, clubs out there like that physicality. You could probably play in bigger leagues. I think it translates better. So I wouldn't be surprised, if he left. I think, Gonzalo, there's a better chance of holding on to Gonzalo Inacio. So with, if Diamande, does leave, how we're going to approach that, it's going to be very interesting. But I think regardless, Eduardo Quaresma is going to have, some type of, he's going to play a big role next year, whether it be, forming, a duo with a Gonzalo Inacio, or, getting some time.
Quaresma.
Yeah. It's just it's his growth has been truly impressive. Then there's the dilemma. Nuno Sanchez is going to come back, but I think that he's lost his spot to Maxi Araujo. I thought that Maxi just these last 3 months really shined. He really showed what he was all about.
Big time. Big time.
I think that he'll slot in as as that left back. In the midfield, I do think they're going to do all they possibly can to keep Morton. I think that if you want Morton, you're going to have to pay 80 million euro. So if there's a team that's willing to pay 80 million euro, okay, I don't see that happening. I do see Morton coming back, and I do see De Bost staying in the midfield.
Okay.
I think that he's sort of cemented his position there. I think he's higher on the pecking order than Hidemasa Morita is. So there's another guy that I wouldn't be surprised, if he left in the offseason. Then, in that sort of number 10 role, you could see a Port sliding into that position, or you could even see Trincão sliding into that position. There's flexibility there. The question is, what are you going to do? What are you going to do as a striker? Is Conrad Harder going to play a bigger role? That's the question. You can also play Conrad Harder out on the wing, which they did quite often this season. So yeah, but I see the 4-3-3. I think that they have the personnel, to play a 4-3-3. And I do see some guys coming in. I know we already got 2 players. We got the central midfielder from Levante, Georgian international. Don't ask me to pronounce his name. And we also got a winger from Unión de Leiria, Alisson Santos. So how these guys are going to be incorporated. BL, I don't know, how this is going. He's going to be. I think he'll be loaned out.
Yeah.
In all likelihood. But yeah, I think we have the personnel for a 3-4-3. We have a personnel for a 4-3-3. But I think Rui Borges is going to want to make it his team. He wants to forge the team, to mask his own identity. So I see Sporting, playing in a 4-3-3. I do see, some more additions coming in, but it's going to be to cater to that 4-3-3. And how's it going to play out? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball, but that's what I expect. I do expect Sporting to look more like a Rui Borges team next season.
Right now, talking about Rui Borges, I was going to ask something about Rui Borges to Mauricio. But first, I want to say something important here. I got a big crush on Cuca Rosetta. Cuca Rosetta is Cuca Rosetta, the singer, man. She's hot, man. She's so hot. I was going through those songs from Sporting. I saw this girl, the Cuca Rosetta, singing from the from the balcony.
Oh yeah, from the balcony.
Right. It's like, man, she's hot. But anyway, that was I got to take it out of my chest. Yeah. Mauricio, so Rui Borges, he took over after Joao, after the disaster of Joao Pereira. It was a disaster. He almost could have wrecked this ship. Nobody knows how, but he almost did it. But then Borges got this a lot of those one half team, right? Only one period there, the first 45 or the second 45, or only one period was good, one period was bad. At one point, do you think he got it? He got it figured out.
I think after, like, Derek always points this out, and I think Derek has a good point. After the European competition was over, when we came out, I think that's when he started to figure it out and get the guys more together, because that's when the guys started to come back as well, health-wise as well. It took him a while. He did try his own methods, and you could see that the players just weren't playing to that system. They were used to Ruben's system. And I agree with Derek. I give him all the credit in the world that he went back to Ruben's system, because this 3-4-3 is what they were used to. It's what they were familiar with, and it's what got them to the finish line. Yeah. But I think once they were out of the Champions League, I think that's when he started to focus more on, like, now I'm going to get the team together. I know we have breaks in between. I think that's when he figured it out. Oh yeah, we talked about that. We'll get to those.
Yeah.
There's a lot
of
we know.
Amazing. That's why they're never going to.
Yeah, Mikey. As soon as Mikey came on, he said right away, "What's up?" He's like, "I thought it was April Fool's. All these coaches leaving." Yeah, it's crazy.
Especially Frier.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
I know.
But I think that's when he figured it out. And I think that's when the best thing Rui Borges did is just keeping the morale of the team. Like, he trusted in them, telling them what's their best point of view, position wise, and everything like that. He trusted in their players. I think he went to Buck. He went to Humelin. He goes, guys, this is I think we should do. What do you think? And I think it was just a back and forth with them, and they gained the trust. And I think that's what he did after that Champions League.
They bond together.
Yeah. Once they started getting the guys healthy again, Yurka's getting his minutes back and everything. I think he went to the captains of the team, Ignacio, Humelin, Buck, Trincão, and he was just like, guys, this is what I'm thinking. We'll go back to this system. Let's see it till the end. Let's just keep on going and everything. I think that's after that Champions League, after that European is when they caught everything together.
Okay.
Yeah, but going back to those coaches, yes. But
we're going back. That's for Mikey.
Yeah.
Mikey, what do you have on this, man? You got Carvajal, Freire out. Who else is out for the Minion?
From Moreirense, Bachi.
Yeah, well, that's not a surprise, but
no, but I mean, and Petit. So 4 managers given the axe, I guess, or some of them left on. Petit left on his own, I think. But I don't understand what Vitória is doing. I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, no.
What more could this guy have done? They sold a big chunk of his team. He still managed to pull them together to be fighting for a European spot on the final day. They have an identity. They play a good brand of football. There'll be no European distraction next season. They'll be able to focus solely on the league. And they decide to part ways with the manager, and they're going to start all over again. How many years in a row are they going to do this? This
Mikey,
makes no sense.
I think there was a stat that came out. Freire got more points in less games than
Rui Borges
did.
Yeah, he did. Because if you remember when Rui Borges was there, they were very focused on the Conference League.
Yeah.
And they were rotating. They were dropping points at the weekend.
They were dropping a lot of points. You're right.
And that's the other reason they didn't finish 5th was a lot of the points they dropped early in the season while they were on that European run. They finally got over that. Yeah. They finally got over that hump of getting into the Conference League proper and not going out in the preliminary stages. And I mean, it makes no sense. I don't understand. They're talking about bringing in the João Pereira from Casa Pia. There's another one who has a great season and he moves on. There's no sense of any type of a project in Portugal. Everything seems to be on a one season, season by season deal.
You can't have sustained success.
No, you can't have any success. I know there's a big disparity in the payroll and the amount of money the big 3 have versus everyone else. But this makes it worse because the other teams also don't plan for it and they don't have any long-term plans at all. And as soon as they have a decent season, they sell everybody and they let the coach go. It's mind-boggling. Yeah. They'll never. It's almost like they want to remain where they are. Like they don't want to advance into that next tier and push for something. And that goes for Braga too. Again, the way they've managed their managers this season, coming in with Daniel Souza, sacking him on week 1, and then bringing in Carvalhal. They fight for 3rd place. They had it in their hands and they let 3rd place slip.
Pissed it away. Yeah,
they pissed it away. and now they're going to start all over again next year. It's like every year they just starting over. They're never. This was a season for Braga to break into the top 2 and push for a title, because the threshold to win the title was lower. It wasn't 89 points; it was 82. It was closer to where they could be. Had they run the club properly, they probably would have been in the conversation and given themselves a chance. For either of the Minu clubs to break in and really compete for the title, they have to understand that they got to be run better than the big clubs.
Yeah.
They can't make the mistakes.
And
Yeah.
so you spent 22 million.
Right.
You got sued
Right.
up.
Mikey, that year Boavista won. How many points did they have? 79, 78?
I think so. I think it was
Something like
somewhere
that.
down. It was somewhere like that. Yeah, that's what it's going to take to take the title away from one of the big 3.
Yeah.
But it is frustrating as a neutral who kind of likes what they were doing there, and then to always see it get derailed every time.
Yeah.
And Dave's saying that Daniel Souza needs to be fired. That's fine. That's his club. He knows them better than I do, of course, and I take his word for it. But it's frustrating to see that when the time is there, you can't have these things happen.
One game. I mean, it
was one game.
But he's saying he spent 22 million and brought in non-starters, was what the comment said.
I think it was David or someone even said this is the worst constructed team. I think when we started our podcast in the season, I think someone had said that.
Okay, it probably was him, yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Dave. He's a big Braga fan.
He's the Braga fan, yeah.
Yeah.
So he might be right. Especially Vitória. It just blows my mind that they're going through yet another coach and don't seem to understand what stability means. And being where they are, they can ascend to that next tier and fight for top 3. And they can ascend for that top 3, but they have to run their club better and more efficient. They have to make a plan, and it doesn't seem like they really have that in mind. It seems like they're very content to fight for the Europa League, and they don't want to put any more pressure on their team, or they don't want to invest any more and have any more expectation than they have. I don't know. I don't understand. But I thought they had the perfect manager for their club, for what they were trying to do in Luis Freire. He was finally able to be at a team where he could play the brand of football he wanted. He had the talent to play the more forward-thinking, more modern football that he wants to play. And, after however many months, he's out. And, this league baffles me because the long-term planning just isn't there for anybody.
Even I sold like 3 or 4 guys, and he still did a good job.
And he still did a good. That's exactly. He couldn't have done any better.
Yeah.
Yeah, and don't forget this, guys. Don't forget this. Who put all his trust in Santa Clara? Who did? Who was that guy?
But Vitória gave it away.
Santa Clara is gonna get out this place.
Yeah, I mean, Vitória lost it more than.
I think Vitória lost it more than Santa Clara won it.
Yeah.
And now what is Santa Clara going to do this offseason, though?
Yeah, what are they gonna, it's going to be very.
Nino, what is Santa Clara going to do with this success?
Yeah, nothing.
Probably get relegated next season. I'll say it right now because this is what happens when small teams go to Europe. They end up relegated the next season because they get off to a horrible start. They get off to a horrible start. They're going to sell important players, and they're going to be starting behind the 8 ball because they also don't have a long-term plan. Their plan is to stay in the first division, and that's as far as they can see.
They're lucky the Botafogo deal broke down with their coach, or else they would have lost their coach too.
Right, exactly.
Come on, so nothing, no credits from me then. 0 credits from me for my Santa Clara. Then
don't worry, Gil Vicente is bringing back Cesar Peixoto, so you're good. Gil Vicente bring him back.
Oh, they got him back. They got him back.
Yep. Right. They confirmed he's returning.
All right. As long as they don't sell Cane Fujimoto, I'm okay.
They need. Clubs need continuity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Clubs need continuity.
All right, guys, I think it's time to play Football Manager now. It is that time of the year.
Yeah.
So we're going to go, since there's no predictions, we're going to go with the team of the season.
All right.
Team of the season.
All right.
And hold on a second. Before we go in there, what does Dave Pereira saying here? For the crap people give Salvador the coaches she has brought in the Domingo Paciencia. Who's that guy?
Oh, Domingos Paciencia.
Domingos? Yeah. He nearly
was a disaster when he came to us.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, it was a disaster.
Yeah, he's right.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. Dave.
Yeah. I mean, he
For
elevated
goalie.
JJ. Amorim.
Abel became a global name after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. Yeah, absolutely.
But it was
Guys, who's gonna be the goalie? Huh? Who's gonna be the goalie for this season? I have no idea. I don't know who to pick. That's why I'm gonna go last on this one. It's
Right.
Mauricio. Who's your goalie, man, for the season?
I'm gonna go with our man that's gonna start for Portugal. I'm gonna go Diego Costa. I think he had the most shutouts in the league for Porto. And that defense that they had going, that's in shambles. And I felt like he really kept them in games. You saw what he could do this game. I saw the highlights. I didn't watch it live, but I saw the highlights against this Nacional. He made 3 or 4 quality saves. Porto shouldn't probably even have won the game against Nacional. It should have been probably a tie, the goals he got out. But I'll give it to him only because I think he led the league in shutouts. If not him, I would give it to Trubin of Benfica. He was solid all year.
Okay, Mikey, what do you say on who's your goalie?
I think I'm going to surprise everybody. It's Rui Silva. He came into Sporting at a time when they were in free fall, and that team stabilized for the rest. He's one of the most important pieces for me for Sporting because they were absolutely in free fall when he got there, and his experience, his quality. It's not just about making saves. It's also about keeping the guys in front of you organized and reducing the amount of shots on goal. For me, he's even though he only was there half the season, he was the most crucial goalkeeper in the league this season. And if it's goalie of the year, for me, it's the most important goalie. And at the end of the day, he was the one hoisting the trophy. So my pick's Rui Silva.
All right, Gomez.
I'm going to pick Trubin, but I do agree with Mike. I absolutely he had understated value. He was an unsung hero. He did really stabilize, that defense. I think he had a tremendous impact that has really gone unsung. I do think that if he played the full season, I'd probably be giving him the award right now. But I'm looking at, this season as an entire body, a 34 round, season, the complete season. And just based on that, that's why I am going to give it to Trubin. I thought that he did have a great season. He had some great games where, he could have got Benfica some extra points. So that's why I'm giving it to him. But I completely agree with Mike's point of view. I mean, Rui Silva had a tremendous impact on Sporting, and we probably wouldn't be champions right now if it wasn't for him and the impact that he had on the club. Even though, like you say, he came in January. Just a tremendous impact. We got it right. It was just one of those, sometimes you get it wrong. I even forgot the guy's name, the guy that we brought in to start the season, a complete bust.
Kovacevic.
The guy was a complete bust. But I mean, this guy, they hit the jackpot. I mean, I think that he really showed me a lot in these last, 4 or 5 months. And, I feel that, Sporting goalie wise is in good hands going forward. But looking at the 24-25 season, my pick for goalie is Trubin.
Okay, all right. I got 2 guys outside the big 3. One is Batista, Richie Batista.
Yeah, it's a good shout too.
And the other one is this guy from Nacional, Franca. I love Franca a lot. I mean, he's playing in a team that when you get shot a lot, I mean, you gotta take twice as many saves as any of the big 3. But boom. If you ask me, but I have these 2 names. But at the same time, I gotta go with the champion, man. I just gotta go with the champion, man. I gotta go with Rui Silva. All right, right back. I got my guy for right back. You guys know who I'm gonna pick, so let's go for Mr. Mauricio Ruano. Who's your right back, brother?
Oh man. So my right back, I'm actually gonna go with your boy. I'm gonna go with him from Campeao. I saw that goal that he had. That was a nice goal, but he's been really consistent for Campeao. He's playing some really good ball. I like his game a lot. hopefully he stays. I don't think he will. I think he'll move on because he's such a good talent. I think he's 27, 26, 27. His age is a little bit up there, but he is a quality player. I do like him.
Thank you.
I do have him as the right back. I like him as my right back pick.
All right. Mikey?
All right. He's more of a wing back than a right back, but I'll stick with Jenny Katamo for this one. He's more of a wing back, but that's how teams play now. I'm not as familiar with some of the smaller teams, so I'll admit that. So that's probably why I'm going where I'm going. But of the big four, I think he's the best right back in that we see right now. So
Gomez?
I'm going to go with Larenzabal as well. Yeah, I think that he's just one of those guys out there that is probably ready, to make the jump to a bigger club. The games that I saw him play against Sporting Benfica, and Porto, the matches that Casapia play really impressed me every time out. He's just one of those classic right backs that gets up and down the pitch, provides defensive support, and also provides support for the attack. So I thought he was a really dynamic player. He stuck out. So that's why I'm going to go with him myself.
All right. Got Larrazal on the right. They still talking about the goalies here. The guys, was it what the heck are you saying? Real Afrikansky Pererinsky. I don't know what you say there. Going with Mixa. I like that guy too.
I like him too. Yeah, he's a good keeper.
I like him a lot, man. I like him a lot.
Nice find.
All right. Let's go to the other side then. Then we go for a center backs. We
left side of the story.
Left backs. I'm going last on this one. All right, Mikey, go first. You hate the guy, but
I don't hate the guy, but it's annoying. But it's Alvaro Carreras. He was fantastic this season. I guess I should have said him as a positive, but it's not a positive when you leave before the season's over, in my opinion. That deal could have waited 2 weeks, but at least the announcing of it. But yeah, he had a fantastic season and kept Benfica in a lot of games. In Europe, he was really good in the Champions League, and was a big reason why Benfica got the points they got and got into the round of 16, which, considering how many rounds and how many more big teams they allow in, it gets harder and harder to keep advancing. So I'll go with Alvaro Carreras.
All right, Gomez?
I agree with Mike. I was going to go with Alvaro Carreras as well. Looking at the entire season, 34 rounds, I think that he demonstrated throughout the course of the season in Europe as well, that he's top quality left back.
That's right.
So I would go with him.
Right.
It's just I was really impressed with Maxi over the last 3 months, but he didn't get off to the best start.
Right.
Figure out if he was going to play up as a winger or as a wing back. I think they solved that issue, and when he began to play solely as a left wing back, developed more consistency, better performances, as a wing back. So I'm excited for the future for him. And that's a guy that I considered. But looking at the entire season, it's Alvaro Carreras. This is really tough to come up with a starting 11 this year, because I felt like a lot of players had their phases.
Yeah.
They had 2
that
or
was
3
the
great
kind of
months.
season it was.
But then they faded or they got off to bad starts. So I'm trying to go with the players that demonstrated quality throughout the entire season, and Carreras certainly did.
Mauricio, you agree? Disagree?
Yeah, no, I agree. Carreras all season long has just been just a monster, defensively and offensively, just up and down that wing. He was just a really good player this year for Benfica. If anything, I probably was hoping Moura would have continued his good streak with Porto, but he had like Derek says, they had waves. It wasn't as consistent where Carreras every game, even now, not just in the league, just in Europe. Carreras was just everywhere. And that's why he's getting the attention that he's getting now. I'm hoping Moura can grow with Porto and maybe keep on developing like he has. I can see a lot of potential in him at that left back position. I feel like they got a good player from Famalicão, Porto did, when they acquired him. But if I
Francisco
had,
Mora.
Yeah.
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 But if I had to pick my left back, it's a no-brainer. It's definitely Carreras.
That's that unanimous here. And De Pereira is right about that. Grimaldo and now Carreras.
Yeah.
Back.
Yeah, the difference is Grimaldo put in several years first. He earned the right to leave early, in my opinion.
Right.
Carreras, a season and a half, so it's very different, I think. But yes, he is correct. I mean, I would love to keep him, but I also didn't expect to keep him. But he couldn't have waited till after the Club World Cup. Like, I don't know. How did they create a new transfer window right before this tournament? So is this tournament part of this season or next season? That's it's FIFA being funny right now. So it's frustrating that that players are switching teams and then a week later playing in a competition on a different team.
All right, so center backs. We go for both, right? Okay, we go the right one and the left one. The duet of center backs. Who are your two, Mr. Ruano? Your two center backs.
So my two center backs, I'm gonna go with Otamendi and Diomande. I'm gonna pick those two. I think Diomande, like we've talked about it all just during the program now, during the podcast, and Derek said it.
All right, okay.
He's just a monster back there, Diomande.
Right.
His strength on the ball, his quality, it's just I give it to him. And Otamendi's just, listen, I know Benfica wish the season went better, but he's the rock back there. He's with Araújo moved to right back, unfortunately, where he shouldn't have been. He should have been playing along Otamendi the whole year instead of Antonio Silva. I feel like Araújo is better at that position. He's a better player. But Otamendi is the one that held it together for them to have that run that they had in Europe. And I feel like he was better this year than he was last year.
Yeah, I agree.
And so that's why I'm going to give it to those two.
All right. Mikey?
I had Otamendi and Inacio. I rated Inacio a little higher. But like you said, didn't get sent off all season. He was just a general back there. Played really, really well. He's basically on the verge of being Portugal's starting center back, and like every time, not just here and there. But those are the two guys. Everything Mauricio said about Otamendi, and I think Inacio was just so consistent and just led by example all season, and was crucial for Sporting to win the league, to win the double, the historic double for themselves. Not the double, the back-to-back. It will probably be a double on Sunday. We'll see. But I might have just had a Freudian slip that.
That's funny.
My fans will never forgive me for that one. But no, it'll be. This is what happens when you. This is what happens when you put me on a live stream at 11 at night and I wake up at 3 in the morning. So those are my two.
Gotta go, Mike. Gotta go. All right, Gomez, your center backs.
I agree with Mauricio. I also went with Diomande and Otamendi.
Diomande and Otamendi. I'm gonna go Otamendi and Inacio. All right, now wingers, right wing and left wing. I'm gonna hit it off here first. I'm gonna say Campeao and Harry Potter, Rodrigo Mora. I don't think that there's more a best winger in the planet right now. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's okay. Mauricio, who you have?
I'm going to switch it up a bit. I agree with you with Harry Potter. He's a breath of fresh air. He really is. And he just got called up to the national team. He deserves it. Hopefully he gets to see some playing time. I know our 17-year-old did it. I hope he does. I pick him, but I'm going with a player from your Santa Clara. I'm going to go with Ricardinho because I feel like whenever they needed a goal, I feel like for them to get 5th place and whenever they needed a goal, that guy stepped up and he was quality for them all season long. I know these guys will pick other guys. I'm going to switch it up a little bit, give some love to the smaller teams, and I'll give it to Ricardinho.
All right, Gomez?
Actually, I agree with you, Nino. Those are the two guys that I picked. Mora has sort of been a revelation. And the future is extremely bright for him. And he authored, I guess you can call it, some magical moments this season. So I think that he deserves to be on there, especially for the second half of the season. Then Trincão, we also have to think back of how he started the season. He started the season fantastically under Ruben. He did run into sort of an inconsistent spell, but he did come up big in some critical moments. He scored at the Stadio de Luz, which is probably, now looking back on it, probably the biggest goal of the season. And he did lead the league in assists. So I think it's important to take that into account. So that's why I ended up picking Rodrigo Mora and Trincão as the wingers.
Mikey?
All right, on the right, I agree on Trincão. That's the guy. I'm going to disagree a little on the left. Okay, and here's why. I'm going to explain why.
I know.
Mora came on late in the season, yes.
Yeah.
But Kerem Aktürkoğlu scored in the big games against the big teams. He scored against Porto. He scored against Sporting. Mora didn't score against a big team. He didn't score in a big game. He didn't score in a big European game. He beat up on Famalicão. He beat up on AVS. He beat up on Boa Vista. Yes, he's a phenomenal player on a great trajectory, but he came on a little late for me. And we talked about how this was in phases. I thought Aktürkoğlu in the beginning phase and in the end phase was good. In the middle, not so much. Yeah. And I think that Mora's phase started a little late for me. So I'll go. I feel the need to defend my guy here, Kerem Aktürkoğlu as the left.
All right, it's all good. It's all good. All right, center mids. I'm gonna go with these two guys, right? Morty, I think if one of you doesn't pick Morty, we're gonna have a problem here.
Right? That's an automatic.
Automatic.
It's I love this guy from Vitoria. It's Thiago Silva. I love Thiago Silva to pair up with Morty. Mauricio, who do you have?
I'm gonna go obviously with Morty. I gotta go with my captain. It'd be ashamed if I didn't. He'd probably take this shirt back from me if I didn't pick him. But I'll go with, and I know he was up and down, but I feel like he had a pretty good season. I'm actually going to go with Kokcu along with Morty in the middle. I feel like Kokcu, European-wise and everything, I feel like with the games that he put in, a lot of games, I feel like I saw the best quality of him this year. I think Florentino gave him a lot of space. Florentino really developed well. And Kokcu just had some really amazing goals this year. Just the ones I can look back on and everything, and crucial games for Benfica. So I'm going to go with Kokcu and Morty.
All right, Gomez.
I'm going to go with Morty, and I like this guy on Benfica. I like Tino. I like Tino. I think he's a pretty dynamic player. I think he's pretty smart for his age. And he can be inconsistent. He can make some mistakes. But I think that when he plays well, Benfica plays well. So I'm a fan of Tino. I am. But Morty, just such a massive season, massive campaign. His first campaign as a captain. He's so critical, so instrumental. To winning this title. He's one of the stars of the league. Not just Sporting. I thought he was just one of the stars, of the league, and he's definitely the top choice center midfielder. But I've always been an admirer of Tino, so I'm going to name him to the list as well.
All right, Mikey.
All right, I'm going to go with Morty as well. Obviously, I think he's actually overall probably the best player in the whole league, all around. He does it all. There's nothing he doesn't do. He wins balls. His passing's superb.
For sure.
He's good in the air. I mean, he does it all. So I'm not going to pick Florentino because they're kind of the same position. I'm going to go with Auschwitz as the other center mid. I rate him just a little bit ahead of Kokcu due to his consistency. I think he's more consistent and more versatile. And if we're picking a real team, Auschwitz can slide in anywhere. But no, I think
Anywhere, man.
he's
Anywhere.
so good
Swiss Army knife.
in applying the press. He's so good at attaching to the forward and being there in support and closing down spaces in the press. He's also just so intelligent with the ball and very rarely makes a bad pass. The ball always goes where it needs to go. So that's going to be my other center mid to go with Morty, who I think I'd rate him number one in the entire league, basically.
All right. And now, obviously, on top we got two spots,
That's
and there's
easy.
There's zero doubt, right?
Zero doubt.
It's
There's no
Vangelis and Victor, and case closed, bro. Case
Yeah.
closed. There's just no question about that, man. I mean, nobody is even close to these two guys. What a monster season that they have. And Gareth, also monster season for us. I'm gonna close the chapter here, the final chapter, because Mikey gotta go to work. 2 hours.
Man.
And by the way, Mike, now you mentioned that. How about these guys? If anybody okay? If we go at 9 instead of 10.
Oh, I'm great. I'm great with 9.
Yes. Yeah, let's do 9.
Does that work for you, Derek?
That works for me now.
9,
Yeah.
Everybody cool with 9? All right. So to
Okay.
give Mikey, I didn't know. Really.
Yeah, because my kid plays high school now.
Yeah.
So they're done by 6-7 o'clock now.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
For the fall,
And one more thing before we go, we might do something for the teams in the Club World Cup. What do you say?
Right.
No.
I'll be
keep me in the loop. Yeah.
So
Mikey from the stadium. Mikey from the stadium.
I'll be at least in the group stage.
Sideline reporter.
I gotta watch the Porto games.
You can go to the Portuguese.
You got to, man. You're being the Porto supporter all season long, half of the season, because the boy wasn't here. But guys, thank you so much. Last edition of Tuga Tuesday for the season. Campeaos, Bicampeaos, Sporting, Benfica, Porto, Braga, and my beloved Giuseppe.
See you guys. Great season.
Guys, see you next